Um, we have Tet Gimel. The essence of a get is you are permitted to every man. Rabbi Yehuda says, and this which shall be to you from me is a writ of divorce, a letter of abandonment, and a bill of release to go to be married to any man that you want. The essence of a document of emancipation is you are a free woman, or you are to yourself. 3 Gittin are void, but if she married, the offspring is legitimate. If he wrote it with his handwriting and there were no witnesses on it, if there are witnesses on it, but it has no date, if it has a date, but it only has 1 witness, these 3 Gittin are void. But if she married, the offspring is legitimate. But Elazar says, although there are no witnesses on it, but he gave it to her in the presence of witnesses, it is valid. And one collects from mortgage properties because witnesses sign on a document only for the sake of the general good. If 2 men sent 2 identical Gittin and they became mixed up, he gives both of them to this one and both of them to this one. Therefore, if he lost one of them, the second one is void. If 5 wrote as a group in a get, so-and-so is divorcing so-and-so, and so-and-so is divorcing so-and-so, and the witnesses are below, they are all valid, and it shall be given to each one. If the text was written for each one, and the witnesses are below, that with which the witnesses are read is valid.
Okay, so over there in Mishna, we have a weird situation where guys decided to write 5 Gittin in a row, or 5 Gittin in one get. Okay. So now Mishna Vav has another odd configuration of how to write a get. Shnei Gittin sheksavan ze b'tzad ze. So they wrote them side by side. So the get A on the right and get B on the left. Okay, and now the Adim are going to sign on the bottom. And only 2 witnesses. Okay. Shnei Adim ivrim ba'im mitachas ze letachas ze. Okay. So you've got 2 witnesses who signed in Hebrew on the bottom, such that let's say you've got 2 columns, and in Hebrew, if you're going from right to left, and it says Reuven ben Yaakov A, so the Reuven is under the one column, and the Yaakov is under the other column. So Reuven ben Yaakov and Menashe ben Yosef A is written in the same way under Reuven ben Yaakov.
So I assume you had the same diagram I have?
Probably, but I mean, it's a different edition, but yeah.
Right, it says, it shows exactly what you said.
Right.
Exactly how it is, right.
Okay. So you got two witnesses who signed in Hebrew underneath it. And then you have another 2 witnesses, presumably because you've got 2 Gittin, so you need to have 2 sets of witnesses. And the second set of witnesses comes, and there are 2 who wrote in Greek or any other left to right language for that matter. Okay. So they've written in Greek from under the left column and the right column. The get that can be read with the first set of witnesses is kasher. So if the first witnesses are written in Hebrew, then the one on the right is going to be kasher because that's where the Adim wrote first. The name of Reuven is underneath the one on the right. Okay, and the other one, of course, is no good. Why? What's the concern over here? Let's see. The Gemara explains the reason over here because we have a suspicion that maybe the second set of witnesses went after the first set of witnesses. For example, if the Hebrew ones signed first, there's a concern that maybe the ones who signed in Greek signed from right to left, just like the Hebrew ones.
Right.
It turns out that all of them are written under the get on the right because they saw that the Hebrew ones went first. So even though it was they wrote in a left to right language, the concern is that maybe they signed from right to left in order to follow the lead of the first ones. I don't 100% understand why that would be a concern, to be 100% honest. I'm interested to know what ArtScroll has to say about this concern.
About the 2 Hebrew witnesses extend from beneath this one to beneath this one. This is what we're talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay. So it says 2 witnesses signed their names in Hebrew under the 2 Gittin. with their own names signed under the get on the right, and those of their fathers under the get on the left.
Carry on.
And then it says, let me see if I get this other page here. It says, and two Greek witnesses extend from beneath this one to beneath this one. The Hebrew signatures are followed by the signature of the two Jewish men from Greece who signed in Greek. Since Greek is written from left to right, their own names appeared under the get to the left and the fathers under the one to the right. That help?
Yes.
That's the Rambam commentary. Others explain that the witness from Greece who also signed in Hebrew letters, but they did so in the manner which was customary in Greece to refer to their father's name before their own. Reuven ben Yaakov, meaning Reuven's son, Yaakov. This isn't the case when the signatures extended across two Gittin as described above. Their father's name would be under the get on the right and the own beneath the one and to the left.
Okay.
Okay, then it says, that which the first witnesses are read is valid. Only the get on the right, under which the first pair of witnesses sign their own names, is valid, but not the get on the left. Although the names under the latter get should be those of the Grecian witnesses themselves, we fear that they too may have signed from right to left to conform with the Hebrew signatures, preceding theirs, and thus all four of the witnesses' own names are signed under the first get. If the Greek signatures were first, the same principle would apply in reverse. Only the get on the left would be valid, but not the one on the right, for fear that the witnesses who signed in Hebrew signed from left to right in order to be consistent with the Greek signatures above theirs.
Okay, so that's exactly what Kahati says.
Yeah.
It didn't add anything new, and I'm just wondering in what world somebody would say, oh, somebody signed in Hebrew from right to left, therefore I'm going to sign my Greek from left to right, from right to left. I don't get it. Okay, but whatever the case is, let's accept that and move on. Okay. The Mishnah carries on. Eid echad ivri ba'eid echad yivani. Eid echad ivri ba'eid echad yivani. So they go alternately. Hebrew Greek. Ba'in mitachas zeh letachas zeh. So and they're all written in that sort of bilbil, and you can't even tell that any one of them is written under any particular thing. Shnehem pesulim, and we can't say which one of them is kosher, because we're not. One of them might have been following the lead of the others, and we just have no idea. We don't have any clear raya that one set of witnesses at least was signing on one particular get. Therefore, the Gittin are pasul. Okay, Mishna Zayin, Shir Miktas Haget Ukasabo Badaf Hasheni.
So I'm just wondering why would we want a Greek get? I mean, we're writing this in Hebrew. It's Lashon Kodesh.
Just the signatures. The get itself is written in Hebrew.
Okay.
But the signature of the aid, maybe the aid doesn't know how to read Hebrew even.
Okay.
Right. I mean, when you're signing documents here in Israel, do you sign using your English signature?
Sometimes it depends if they say sign it in English, to sign it, they want to be able to.
I don't even have a Hebrew signature.
Really?
Yeah. I just sign my English signature on everything.
I one time was what do you call it? I was an aide at a wedding. Friends from this was 30 years ago, and I said, listen, I don't know if that's going to work. That was even before we were really from like. And then I said, the rabbi will work with you. So the rabbi, he had this sheet, and he had me practice for days and days and days exactly how it should be written, exactly how
Oh,
so
signing on a ketubah, I've done that.
He says, bring this sheet with you, because when you're going to sign the ketubah, you're going to use this sheet to sign exactly how it should be. Yeah. So I did, and it worked fine.
Yeah, no, that's I've done that. Okay. Let's say this. Shir Miktas Get. He was writing the get, and he knew and it's important that he knew when he started out that he didn't have enough space on the parchment to finish the whole get in one column, so he carried on in the second column. Okay. So he moved on to the second column, and the Eidim signed underneath that. Kosher, no problem. Eidim berosh hadaf min hatzad u'me'acharav beget pashut pasul. So if you have a regular get and the Adim signed on the side, or on the top, or on the back of the get, that is pasul. It's got to be at the bottom of the star. So the other, I mean, that is, you've got to know that that's the Adim signed it once it was complete. That the whole thing was there, and the Adim signed it there. If you say if they signed it somewhere else, like, who says that they saw the whole thing? That, by the way, is just to get pashut for Yisraelim, for get mekushar. It's the opposite. The Adim have to sign on the back of the thing because it's being folded over and sewn. Okay. Hikith rosho shel zeh b'tzad rosho shel zeh v'ha'edim be'emtza. Okay, what have we got over here? We've got a back-to-back printing where if you hold it this way, there's one get reading down, and if you turn it upside down, the other get is in the other direction. Okay, so the top of each get is the top of each of the Gittin is facing each other, but just in opposite directions. Shneihem pesurin. How is it? Have I got that case right? The Rosh says the Rosh there. Yeah, that's right. Okay, they're both possible. Sofa shel zeh, b'tzad sofa shel zeh, or the opposite direction. They're both written from the edge of the page and into the middle. Ba'edim ba'emtza. And so you've got so again, the one is upside down, and they both conclude in the middle of the daf. The one that the Adim have signed on in the same direction. That's the one that's kosher. Rosh shel zeh b'tzad sofa shel zeh. If they're written one after the other, ba'edim ba'emtza, and the witnesses are in the middle. Esha Adim nikrin the sofa kosher. Wherever the Adim have signed, the one that logically follows the Kesubah, that's the one that is kosher. Okay. Okay. And just see if there's a reason why the upside down ones. Oh, right. The case that we had in the I beg your pardon. The Rosh shall say the one where they were written out from the center, and the Adim had signed in the center. Both of them are pasul because the Adim aren't signed at the bottom of either of them. Right. Okay. Mishna Ches. Get shekasavo ivris for Adav Yavanis. So the get was written in Hebrew, and the Adim signed in Greek. Or Yavanis for Adav Ivris. Or they wrote out the get in Greek, and the witnesses signed in Hebrew. Eid echad ivri ve'eid echad Yavani. Or if you've got one witness who signs in Hebrew and one in Greek, because of a sofer ve'eid. Or if the sofer added himself as a witness, and one other witness joined with him. In all of these cases, it's kosher. It's not. So the language is not mandatory. It doesn't have to be a Hebrew get. It just has to follow the right nusach, at least translated directly into Greek. Ish ploni aid kosher. If it just says if it just puts the aid's witness and not his father's name, that's still kosher. Okay. Ben ish ploni aid kosher. Even if he just says my name is Ben Mordechai. And doesn't put his first name, but he puts his name as a witness, that's still kosher. Ish ploni ben ish ploni v'lo kasav aid. So he writes Reuven ben Yaakov and doesn't write the word aid. That's also okay. And that actually was the minhag of a certain group of medaktikim in Yerushalayim, that they would specifically leave off the word aid for some reason. Yeah. All of this is legit. We really remember the point of the witnesses on the get is just so that we don't have the Baal coming and claiming that this is a forgery. But really, the force of the get only happens through the handing over, not through the signing. No. Okay, so just that we have some sort of thing or some sort of way of tracking the Adim. That's the important thing. Kasav chanichaso v'chanichasa kasher. If he wrote his nicknames and her nicknames, right? This is lo kasav es shmosehem gufam. or we just, or some explain that he wrote their surnames, but not the father's names. This says kasher. The get is kasher. I must have glossed over this when I was preparing this because this seems to me to be a massive surprise. I thought you would have to. I thought you would have to write all of their names, including their nicknames, and you have to be very specific about whose names are inside there. But apparently the Mishnah says it's kosher. Does Artwell make any comment about the nicknames part?
No, I don't see the nickname part. I don't see that.
After you say, do you see the bit about the Nakia Hadass Yerushalayim Nosim, the one those of clean mind in Jerusalem, and then the following clause says if he wrote his. Read me the English that you got.
Okay, let me see. This is not the one about the identical Gittin, right? If two, in the case of two Gittin whose texts are alongside each other, and two Hebrew witnesses extend from beneath this one to beneath that one.
We're in Mishna Ches.
What I do? Well,
I think you were in 9, yeah.
That's a get whose writing is in Hebrew and whose witnesses are in Greek. In Greek and its witnesses in Hebrew, one witness in Hebrew with one witness in Greek to one which has the writing of the scribe and the witnesses. Now we're looking over here. We're looking to see about the
carry on. What I want to hear in the article commentary is later in the Mishnah.
Later in the Mishnah. Let me see if I can go further. No, that's not going to be weird. A signet which reads so and so witnesses is valid. One which reads the son of so and so witness is valid. If he wrote so and so, the son of so and so, and he did not write witness, it is valid. And this is what the pure-minded of Yerushalayim used to do.
Okay, now this is the part that I want to know the commentary on.
If he wrote his surname or her surname, it is valid. Okay, so it says, if he wrote his surname or her surname, it's valid. If the husband, when writing his or her wife's name in the get, added a family name rather than that of his or her father, it's valid. Thus, if there was a distinguished individual in the family, members of the family might refer to that ancestor in their names, that is, in Ezra, rather than identifying themselves with their father's names. However, this identification is valid only within 3 generations of the life of that ancestor. Another opinion. Another opinion is that the name may be used for 10 generations. Others explain that the family name does not refer to a specific individual, but it is simply a surname used by the family for identification. It is valid only if it has not been in disuse for 3 or 10, according to alternate opinions. There is another view that the names referred to in the Mishnah are personal nicknames, not the family names described in the Gemara. Although it is stated above that a man must write his primary name in the get for it to be valid, the nickname discussed here is one which is familiar to all who know him and therefore considered a primary name. Others explain this nickname to be one which is used in the same place as his proper name, not one used in a different town. In such a case, there's a dispute whether in a get it is permitted to use only one of the names by which he is called in that place, or whether he is obligated to include both. All agree, however, that if you use only one, the divorce is valid.
Okay, interesting.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Now we move on to the concept of get me'useh. Get me'useh is a forced get. That's where somebody was coerced by either physical force or by any other kind of pressure, the monetary force or the social force, whatever it is. Right. He's coerced into giving the get. The Israel kasher. If it's done by a Jewish court, when the court has paskin that he must divorce his wife, then this is a kasher get. If a goyim pasul. So if a woman takes her husband to a secular court, and the court says, okay, you have to divorce him, otherwise you'll go to jail or whatever else, other question, and he says, okay, I'll give it to her. That's a coerced get is not kasher, and that's very problematic. Okay, goyim You are, however, in a case where the Beis Din doesn't have any real power, the Beis Din is allowed to say, if they paskin that the husband must give the wife a divorce, and he says, what do I care? You've got no teeth. And he walks out. So the Beis Din gives the wife now permission to go to the non-Jewish court, and the non-Jewish court will force him to do what the Jewish court said to do. So you're allowed to hire goons. Basically, the non-Jewish court is fulfilling the function of hired goons who are going to come to and say, give the divorce or else. And that's totally legit. Okay, we're done. We're running a little late, so we might not get to do all the chazaras.
Okay.
Go back to Zayin Aleph.
Zayin Aleph. One who was seized by delirium and said, write a get for my wife, did not say anything. If he said, write a get for my wife, and was seized by delirium, and then he said, do not write it, his latter words are worthless. If one became mute and they said to him, shall we write a get for your wife? And he nodded with his head, and they tested him 3 times. If he said no for a no, and yes for a yes, they may write a get and give it. If they said to him, shall we write a get for your wife? And he said to them, write. And they told the scribe, and he wrote, or witnesses, and they signed. Although they wrote it, signed it, and gave it to him, and he in turn gave it to her. The get is void unless he says to the scribe, write, and to the witnesses, sign. If a man said, this is your get if I die, if this is your get if I die from this illness of mine, or this is your get if after my death he has not said anything. If he said, this get should take effect from today if I die, or from now if I die, it is a get. From today and after my death, it is a get, and not a get. If he dies, she performs chalitza, but not yibam. If he said, this is your get from today if I die from this illness of mine, and then he rose and went to the marketplace and became ill and died, we assessed him. If he died from his first illness, it is a get. If not, it is not a get.
Okay.
Yeah, she said.
Dalet Aleph.
Aleph. A betrothed woman and a woman awaiting yibum neither drink nor do they receive payment for the marriage contract. As it is said, when a woman strays from under the authority of her husband to the exclusion of a betrothed woman and a woman awaiting yibum, a woman married to a Kohen Gadol, a divorced, or a woman who received chalitza married to an ordinary Kohen, or amongst Neris, or an Anisonite married to an Israelite, or an Israelite daughter married to a Mamzer or Nisonite, and neither drink nor receive payment for their marriage contract. The following women also neither drink nor receive payment for the marriage contract. One who says, I am defiled, and about one who witnesses testify she is defiled, and one who says, I will not drink, but whose husband said, I will not give her the drink, and whose husband cohabitated with her on the way, receives payment for a marriage contract, but does not drink. If their husbands die before they're able to drink, Reb Shammai says they receive payment for the marriage contract, but do not drink. But Beis Hillel says they neither drink nor receive payment for the marriage contract. A woman pregnant by a previous husband and a woman nursing a child by a previous husband neither drink nor receive payments for the marriage contract. These are the words of Reb Meir, but the comments say he can separate from her and take her back after a period of time. A sterile woman or an old woman or a woman who cannot bear children neither drink nor receive payments for the marriage contract. If Elias says he can marry another woman and be fruitful and multiply from her, and all other women drink while they do not receive payment for the marriage contract.
Okay. Kesuvos Beis Hey.
Okay. If a woman said, I was married, but I am divorced, she is believed, for the one that created the liability is the one that did it. If, however, there were witnesses that she was married and she says, I am divorced, she is not believed. If she said, I was captured, but I am undefiled, she is believed, for the one that created the liability is the one that undid it. If there are witnesses that she was captured, however, and she says, I am undefiled, she is not believed. But after she married, witnesses came and she did not leave. So if 2 women were captured, and now this one says, I was captured, but I am undefiled, and this one says, I was captured, but I am undefiled, they are not believed. If they are testified for one another, however, they are believed. So too, in the case of 2 men in which this one says, I am a Kohen, and this one says, I am a Kohen, they are not believed. If they testify for one another, however, they are believed. And Rabbi Yehuda says, who's enough, right? Oh,
yeah.
Rabbi Yehuda.
I'm going to need to go to Shachar.
Okay, all right, go. I'll see you tomorrow, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
You too, thank you, bye.